Hey, what's going on, YouTubers, Lyft drivers, Uber drivers? Nick Corona here. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit today about cars. What kind of car you should have for Uber, what I have, what my advice is. In my opinion, guys, this is the most important choice you can make because all the money you make boils down to what car you have, how much profit you make, what's going to happen at the end of the day. I mean, it can make or break you. So just to kind of go over what I do, I'm currently in a 2010 Ford Fusion Hybrid. This is my second Uber car. My first one was a Camry. So I bought this one with Insight, and it has everything that I want for Uber, and it has some extra stuff too. But just to kind of go over why I have this car and what I did to get this car. So guys, the most important thing obviously is making money. So the best way to do that is to spend the least amount of money you can per day while Ubering and get the most reliable, inexpensive car. What do you need? Something that is nice enough to keep you at a nice rating. Good gas mileage is only going to help your profits, something that won't be breaking down. And then the thing that everybody overlooks, you need something that you're not going to drive all of your value off of. I don't know how some of these people make it out here with new cars. I really don't. I don't see why you do it. So just to kind of put things in perspective, I shopped around a lot for my car. It's got a nice interior. The outside of it's nice. It gets about 40 miles to the gallon. A little less sometimes depending on weather. But it's a great car. It's fairly cheap to insure. So just to kind of go over my running cost, my car payment is about $260 a month. My insurance is $140 a month, and I've calculated on average I probably spend about $10 a day on gas. Some days a little more, some days a little less, but spending $10 on gas with this car gets me around 200 miles. So that's probably my average day, somewhere between 150 and 300 miles, just depending on what's going on. So with all that being said, I'm spending about $680 a month on my car. So when you break that down, I'm gonna be at about $22 a day. So that's my running cost with paying for my car, insurance, gas. So if I Uber every single day, everything over $22 is going in my pocket. The 22 is going to the car. I mean, that's easy. That's usually one or two trips, just obviously depending. So I shoot for 150 to 200 a day. So spending 22 a day, that's okay. And if I don't drive and my car's just sitting and we factor out gas, it's about $12.50. So if you want to take a vacation, you know what you're spending a day to let your car sit. So another really important facet of this whole thing, in my opinion, is buy a car with high miles. It makes no sense to me for people to go buy a new car. Say you spend 30 grand on the car, and by the time you make $10,000 on Uber, if you've put 30 or 40,000 miles on your car between personal driving and Uber, you're not really profiting. I mean, you could go negative. You could go in the hole. If you spend 30 grand on a car and then you get in a position where it has 100,000 miles on it and you still owe 25 grand, you're really going to be kicking yourself. I bought this car with 100,000 miles on it for $8,000, and I shopped around for it. Another big piece of my advice: shop around. If you can get some financing or figure out a way to do it like I did, get a loan and then get that cash and go buy private, you're going to save yourself even more money versus getting a car from a dealer where they have to make money on you. So buying privately, buying high mileage, Another big one for me is I was not going to buy a car that had any accidents. It's trouble down the road you don't want, and that's not why we're doing this. This car specifically, the Ford Fusion, phenomenal consumer reports, better than the Camry. So I've got a car that I'm not really driving a lot of value off of. I don't plan on it breaking. I know no one ever does, but anything you can do to help your odds. I mean, all those things combines how you're going to make your money, because when I add 40,000 miles to this car, that's not really depreciating it like going from 0 to 40,000. You see, I'm going from 100,000 to 140,000. I'm still in the high mileage category. I shop for this car randomly. I'll check the internet, check Craigslist. That's where I found this car. You can't really find them, especially where I'm at in Atlanta, for 8-9 grand. It just isn't happening. So it's like, if I sell this car for what I paid for it, you know, that's key to making money at this Uber thing, people. Because if you get screwed when you sell your car, you're gonna have wasted all your time. Which is another thing. You know, I know everyone's not, you know, maybe car people like I am. I love cars. I love buying cars. I've bought many cars. I'm willing to travel. I found about 10 cars that I liked, found 5 that I loved. Most of them were in Detroit, so I called a bunch of people in Detroit. I found a day that I could go see 5 or 6 of them, and got a one-way ticket. Went and looked at the cars. Honestly, the first 2 were complete trash, not what I expected. Third one, this one, it was amazing. Got a great deal on it just for being there in person, having cash. It's a Ford. I went and bought it in Detroit. Do your research, find where you get the best deals. You know, and that's how I got the car. I drove it one way back to Atlanta, Georgia. I saved probably, I paid 8 grand for it. I couldn't find one in Georgia for less than 11. So to save a couple grand is completely worth the risk of, if I don't find one, I'll get a $150 flight back to Atlanta. No big deal. Totally worth it for buying a car. So, you know, just think about all those things. If you're gonna buy a hybrid, I really recommend you to do your research. I was dead set on getting a hybrid for my second car just to see what it's all about, and it's awesome. I love it. I wouldn't love it if I had to pay for any maintenance. And I'll tell you what, I did a lot of research, and post 100,000 miles, the Ford Fusion's the only car I was willing to take a risk with, because they typically don't have problems like the other hybrids. Also, the repair costs phenomenally lower. I don't really recommend buying a Prius or a Civic or a Camry with 90 or 100,000 miles and all the original equipment. It's just not something you want to get into. If you're not a car person, you might just be better off getting a Corolla or a Camry, especially if you're starting off. Uber goes all the way back to 2006 now in Atlanta, which, did I even hear 2002? They keep bumping it back, but you would miss out on the airport. But once again, when you do that math, you find out how much money you're saving, you might not care. You can still get trips to the airport. Atlanta's busy all the time. There's different strategies you can use. Definitely different strategies I'd love to show you guys in another video. I hope that my advice answers some questions for anyone out there who just doesn't know what car to get right now, or if you're not really sure what kind of car to look for. You know, just listen to what I said. Get something reliable. Get something you're not going to drive all the value off of. You know, get something decent. Get something that looks nice. I hope that this helps someone out there. I look forward to talking to you guys again, and everyone, safe driving.